You know how sometimes there's one of those shows that makes you say, wow, that could only happen in an anime?
そういやお前意味浜でも見たな。てめえ誰かの差し金で俺たちをつけて。
ビスコどいて。胃の中に何かいるんだ。ちょっと荒っぽくなるけど。
Wow. Sabikui Bisco is one of those shows. Bisco, as I'm going to refer to it, because I can't pronounce half of the show's name, is a post-apocalyptic sci-fi fungus show based on a light novel and manga of the same name. As always, light spoilers ahead. I'm not going to talk about any major plot points or anything like that. However, I will go into characters and the setting. So if you want to go into the show completely cold, I would say do not watch the rest of this video. The series starts with Tokyo exploding, so that's not too good. It appears that this explosion that destroyed Tokyo caused great winds of rust to envelop Japan, turning once thriving communities into piles of useless scrap. Fortunately, humanity is kind of similar to cockroaches in that if there's a way we can survive, we will. And cities began to thrive once again, despite, literal iron deserts full of rust right outside the walls. Oh yeah, and also people can rust as well. Basically anything can, and that was one of the first things that drew me in about Bisco, the setting. I said in the intro that this is really a setting that can only be done well in anime, and that's because it's super fucking weird. In fact, let me list off a few things from the first 5 episodes that made me say, what the fuck? Hippos with machine guns mounted on them chasing a giant crab. 1940s gangster that leads a bunch of bunny-headed thugs, also he's the mayor. Child soldiers shooting at giant flying blowfish. A kid named Nuts. Zombies. Snail plane. And that's just a few examples. This show is chock full of crazy shit like that. Not chock full of Nuts, though. He's only in 1 episode. That was a joke about a brand of coffee for people in my audience over 30 who might find it funny. But as you can see, almost anything goes in this world. The zombies that show up for 4 seconds have zero foreshadowing, but after all the crazy stuff that I'd seen up to that point, it didn't even faze me. And what's nice about Bisco's setting, other than it's incredibly unique, is that they don't fall into the trap of just making everything brown and drab. I mean, sure, there's plenty of that, but we also get to see a bustling city, a forested area, and even a vast stretch of salt flats. The variety really helped keep my attention. I watched all 5 available episodes in one sitting, which I almost never do. But hey, the setting is engaging because you never know what you're gonna see. Although I can say by the time I saw the snail plane, I was pretty much all in and ready for anything. Also, it's heavily implied that pre-apocalypse anime figures are worth a ton of money on the black market. And that's just a world that I want to live deep inside of. I wonder how much this one is worth. What even is this one? So what's the story of Bisco all about? We've got this crazy weird setting, so what's going on in there, huh? Well, it's pretty simple actually. Bisco, our main character, is a traveling archer with the ability to sprout gigantic mushrooms anywhere with his bow. It's actually a little more OP than you would think. He meets our other main character, Milo, who's too cute for this world, and when something bad happens to him, I will be upset, and who is an incredibly talented doctor working in the city of Ishiyama. The two meet while Bisco visits the city to perform a terrorist attack? Well, okay, it's not as cut and dry as that. See, Bisco is known as a mushroom keeper, literally a person who can grow and spread multitudes of mushrooms at will. Unfortunately for him, mushroom keepers are reviled as terrorists, and their mushrooms are believed to spread the deadly rust. After a few episodes of escalation between Bisco and the local government, he and Milo team up and go on a journey to find the legendary Rust Eater, a mushroom that can destroy all rust. All in all, it's actually a pretty simple concept, which is probably a good thing considering how crazy the setting can be at times. There are also a few other major characters such as Pawu, who is fucking awesome. I mean, she rides a motorcycle and swings around a huge iron bar, and she does it all with a life-threatening illness. Chiroru, a mercenary with Nami vibes. Also, everyone just calls her Jellyfish because of her hair, which is pretty great. And Jabi, he's old. Honestly, so far no one in the cast is anything we haven't seen before, but hey, they're well acted and the dialogue is snappy and it has a good flow. The show even has some pretty good comedic timing.
誰の国に手つけてんだこらそのまま餌になりたいか
I do especially like how Bisco and Milo bounce off each other, with Milo being a kind-hearted doctor and Bisco just being loud and brash. The story at its core is about the journey of these characters, so the fact that they work well with each other and have an enjoyable dynamic bodes well for the rest of the season. At the beginning of the video, I played an excerpt from Bisco's main opening, and as you could tell, it slapped. In fact, the show's entire soundtrack slaps. It's also lit, and a couple of other slang terms that are no longer cool. Bisco has a tendency to use these super aggressive metal tracks during action scenes. It's really not something that you see very often in today's anime industry. However, I will say that I hope some more tracks get introduced as the show matures, because there's this one song that starts with the drum line, and they play it all the time. Also, I swear I've heard it before, but I just can't place where. Overall, the soundtrack is fairly memorable, though not as strange as the rest of the show. The OP is pretty great though. Good job. So in a day and age where you have 8 different streaming services on your phone and literally hundreds of shows to choose from at any moment's notice, should you give Bisco your hard-earned and valuable time? Personally, I think so. 2022 has already been a year with a lot of great anime releases, but Bisco might just be the weirdest. And Attack on Titan Season 4 is airing this season, so that's really saying something. The season has a lot of heavy hitters, and sure, you could go watch one of the 8 isekai shows currently airing, or a show about feet, or you could watch a show with some of the most creativity I've seen in a while. In a day and age where you literally have so much choice that it negatively impacts your ability to choose anything at all, I think we should give the weirdos a shot. I've seen almost no hype about this show in any of the smelly anime boards I frequent. And really, that's just a shame, because any show with a crab this big deserves some hype. Well, that's pretty much it. My thoughts on Sabikui Bisco. Personally, I think the show is worth a watch, and while I don't think it's going to become a modern classic or anything, I think that cult classic status is certainly within its grasp. So get in on the ground floor, be one of the cool kids, and watch this instead of She professed herself pupil of the wise man. I gained a second character class and became the strongest sage in the world. Trapped in a dating sim. The world of Otome games is tough for mobs. Do you love your mom and her 2-hit multi-target attacks? Wataru! The hot-blooded fighting teen in his epic adventures after stopping a truck with his bare hands. Okay, that last one actually kind of sounds amazing. I'm gonna add that one to the list. Thank you for watching. Please, if you're so inclined, go ahead and leave a like and maybe subscribe. Also, check out the Twitch channel if that's something that interests you. And above all else, don't eat any inflatable stomach worms.